Hello, my sweet dear magical friends. Willkommen to your weekly horoscope and tarot scope with me, 𝚑𝚑𝚎, spelled 𝚑𝚑𝚎. In this video, we're going to open up the collective energy and astrology of the week ahead using Western astrological interpretation, remote viewing, and the tarot. I am calling this week a grand purpose revealed, though I really wanted to call it, you can do it, put your back into it, because of the trine between Mars and Saturn. If you work hard enough, and if you really want it bad enough, dreams do come true, man. Dreams do come true. It's from Rockstar. Let's start with Monday. Monday, March the 27th. I'm calling this day Scale Up. And we have a conjunction of Mercury and Jupiter in the sign of Aries. So the week starts with an opportunity to increase the size of something, expand the scope of something, or to scale something to be bigger and better than before. So if there are any kind of obstacles, or if this is hitting your chart in a strange way, there's opportunity there. You really have to look for it. It's the brain that tells the eyes what we're seeing. So we can all look at the same thing and see different things and the same thing that we are all observing. So you really want to ask yourself, what opportunities are you missing, or what are you not seeing that's right in front of you? Because this really should be loud enough where you cannot possibly miss it. However, not all opportunities arrive in a clear plastic packaging that says, I'm an opportunity, open me, here are the directions, So this is a great day for brainstorming, for discussions, for negotiating, for coming up with great ideas, any kind of mentorship. If you are mentoring someone, if you have a mentor, this can be one of those days that opens up a really greatly expansive perspective. And it's almost like an inheritance, but an inheritance of perspective, or an inheritance of a skill. Someone teaches you how to do something, and you both have an affinity for this thing, and you both belong to the spiritual lineage of what that is, whether it's riding horses, whether it's art and design, whether it's something else, but sharing that affinity of the mind is greatly indicated, and that it could be a very lucky occurrence for you to discuss what you care about, or discuss some ideas that you're having, or to keep an open mind and, consider some new horizon that you're gearing yourself up to approach. Something that requires boldness or bravery, or if you are the first to do something, the pioneering spirit. Now, on the flip side, because there always is a flip side, on Monday, the 27th, this Mercury-Jupiter conjunction in Aries may also inflame people to a point where it could be this sort of putrid explosion of word salad. There could be a lot of word salad this week too. Word salad, where I'm going to try not to make this all about me talking about the TikTok Congress stuff. So let me refocus myself here. So, if this is like that putrid explosion of word salad, and you can tell that people don't actually know what they're talking about when they're saying these buzzwords or these word salads, it could just be absolutely nonsensical. And don't let anyone just be big and boastful and push over with the sheer force of their energy that they're propelling. The energy, the momentum. This can be very shouty and very indignant, but not make any sense. It could be full of hot air. It could be full of, posturing, or, on the flip side, this could be a lot of over promising, or some kind of, I'm gonna do this big thing, and you don't ever take that first little step towards doing this big thing, but you're talking about this big thing, and there's nothing necessarily wrong with that. You just want to make sure that you are backing yourself up and that you are following through on these things that you're talking about. Okay, so it's a great day for, like I said, brainstorming and discussing and, you know, furthering out and pushing those boundaries and horizons and really seeing, you know, what's unexplored that I can be brave enough to explore and, you know, hopefully benefit from, if not for just the perspective that it grants you from the experience. So you want to take some care on Monday because you can scale something up. You can expand your limits with something. You know, you can have more endurance, more like mental endurance to go further. The only thing is that the moon in Gemini will square over to Neptune in Pisces. So don't, if there's any word salad, like if this is just like a big bully, just being really shouty and indignant and, you know, gaslighting, and they just have like weird open-ended responses when you try to pin them down to something. If you try to pin someone down to evidence or proof or, you know, anything like that, and they just come out with, well, how dare you? Or like, how could you? Or like totally divert, you know what I'm saying? So the moon squaring Neptune doesn't help any of that. Just don't give your power away to someone else's emotional turbulence, because you want to stay inspired. This can be an inspiring day. And that's the thing. There may be some conflict this week. There may be word salad stuff. And that's because of Mars now being in Cancer, which I don't care about Mars in Cancer. It's out of the 8-month retrograde from August until March. So yes, Mars in Cancer over the next few weeks, it can be, you know, annoying and bothersome and exhausting. And, you know, just like this moon squaring to Neptune, that could be like an energy drain. So Mars in Cancer can also misuse its energy, burn its energy up through, I don't know, some wasteful Mars moving through any sign can be wasteful in its energy if it's not in a sign that it likes, or if it's not tempered well, or if it's not interacting by aspect positively to other planets or your own natal chart. So, you know, be careful to not like die on the hill, so to speak, throughout the next few weeks. Now on Tuesday, the 28th of March, I am calling this day utility. And that's because we have something interesting happening. I looked at this day and I couldn't figure it out. I had to stare at it and come back to it and stare at it and come back to it. I was looking at this grand water trine. The moon's going to meet up with Mars and activate this grand water trine with Saturn in Pisces and the South Node in Scorpio. And I was it just didn't feel right. Like the interpretation that I was getting looking into this and just the vibe wasn't like complete. So finally I saw it. I saw what I was feeling intuitively that I was missing. And this is a perfect example. So the answer of what I was looking for has been here the entire time, but I couldn't see it for quite some time. I'm referring to, there's the grand water trine, but opposing the South Node is the North Node in Taurus with Venus and Uranus close by in Taurus. So this is a new formation. This is a kite formation. And it's even more important because normally you will have the focal planet of this configuration in opposition to another planet or point, mostly a planet. And these are not planets. The nodes are not planets. They are intersectional orbital meeting spots, paths crossing in the sky. And those will they will sextile to other planets, and 3 planets will be in a grand trine. So then one of those 3 will form an opposition to another planet. And in this case, they're not planets, they're points. But because they are nodes that must be always in opposition, that's just what they are, it's more special to me. It's more meaningful. So this would be like the backbone of a kite. So that's what this formation is. It's a grand water trine forming a kite with the North Node in Taurus. So I feel like Taurus, Venus, energy will be very, very strong this week because everything else, like the power of, it's not just a grand water trine that's like an easy get. So, this can be a really easy, beneficial week for some of you guys. And it's like this big grand reveal of some purpose. Okay. And that's what could, and really the whole week, I feel like revolves around that because this is also the day that there's the quarter moon in Cancer. So I feel like this Taurus emphasis in your life, wherever the house is that Taurus rules in your chart, this is where the energy gets channeled into. So it's not just like a grand water trine where it's an easy get. There's something you can take for granted. There's something that just comes through effortlessly. It's not just that. It's all of that easy energy that has a purpose, that has somewhere to go. It has a focus. It has some kind of, we don't take anything for granted. So something happens easy, it flows through. We don't take an easy win for granted. We secure it. We secure it with, or maybe even just because of a sense of purpose and commitment and utility, because this North Node and Taurus stuff has been wanting us to develop and use and develop confidence in our own skills, talents, abilities. And, if any of that has been predicated on codependent themes or transactional themes or being entangled instead of bonded with love and trust and freedom and integrity, then that's been what these flushes have been since November 2021. So I'm really encouraged that there's this beautiful grand water trine with this focal point of the North Node in Taurus, which is giving you, I would say, like, if this is like really, really good for you, this would be something that there's some kind of greater, grander purpose in the Taurus area of your life that gets revealed this week. And it's something that I feel like comes through with an emotionally rich energy. So for instance, looking at this all just on its own, the moon in Cancer, Mars in Cancer, Saturn in Pisces, the South Node in Scorpio, the North Node in Taurus. When the moon meets up with Mars, we're going to feel very primed to take action. We're going to feel very emotionally reactive. We're going to feel very internally alive. Something vivid and visceral and maybe even physical is happening in our lives. On Tuesday, the fact that this energy meets up with a very stabilizing influence of Saturn in Pisces tells me that it has a grounding, it has some kind of like this internal richness is subject to our own like internal strength of spirituality. So it's like you can act, you can be primed to take action, or you may be very emotionally responding to something that moves you very strongly. But it'll all be through the lens of your subjective fears or faiths. So you can take action on something you really believe in and have faith in, and you can ground it and, make it a little bit more permanent. Or because it does connect with the South Node in Scorpio, there may be in some cases, in some instances, some kind of like fears that come up. And in that case, it would be like this challenge to outgrow them, the challenge to outgrow these fears. See, with this Mars in Cancer, there's going to be so many people that are just going to overreact. And I call it emotional hijacking, where someone, you're literally driving to a restaurant to have a nice dinner, and someone picks a fight in the car. And, it's something stupid and petty and they could let it go, but they're not. And, they're like emotionally hijacking this car ride, and everyone has to stop because they're having an emotional, I don't know, they're having some kind of emotional, maybe they're talking about neighbors, friends, family, work, whatever. But like if someone, it could take something really small and petty, like someone forgot to turn the turn signal on, And that's just like the last straw for somebody. And it's really not even about that. It's about like all this other stuff, but it doesn't matter because that's what's in the moment happening right then and there. So, you know, there could be angry tears. There could be militaristic deployments of martial energies in people out of a sense of like defending like the homeland, but that homeland is some kind of toxic delusion that is like just super entitled and delusional. And this is the thing, like this is how you guys, what I'm getting with this Mars in Cancer, the worst of it, the worst potential is some kind of delusional, you know, overreaction of emotional outburst and anger. Cancer is one of the childish signs, so it could be very, very childish and like the temper tantrums. So whoever gets like that first loses. Okay. And you will see, you can test this very easily if you're in some kind of toxic entanglement, because when someone's huffing and puffing and super mad and the other one is like super quiet, that mad person could get mad that the other person isn't getting mad. Now, if someone is justifiably upset and they're defending their boundary, and the other person could be a little bit more like goading them on and trying to get the reaction out of them, making them take the bait, that's a really shitty thing to do too. So separate, get some air. It's a toxic entanglement because you're both messing with each other. You know what I'm saying? So it's like there could just be, you know, guilt and fighting with that kind of stuff, fighting with like emotional blackmail, fighting using people's fears against them, fighting using people's lack of faith or spiritual weaknesses against them. And, you know, all in the name of holding on to something that is being ripped away with that South Node in Scorpio. Okay. So but just you can walk right through this. And what I mean by that, I have the perfect example. So I was in Germany. One of the times I was in Germany, in Deutschland, and I went to Weimar with a friend, and we were taking the train back to somewhere else. We were going to Weimar. Excuse me. This is the train, I think, to Weimar. And we got off the train and we go underground to this like underground tunnel train like area. And we both had a little suitcase on the little wheels. And we didn't know, but the train car like behind us and then one behind that were full of neo-Nazis that had just come off some huge rally. And they were like super pumped up. I've always been afraid of mobs and crowds of people since I was a very small child. And this is why, because it's like everyone loses their individual will when there's like a mob. And it's like this amoeba of like a cluster of energy, and it all moves together. And that's how people get like trampled and all kinds of things. So when you have a bunch of people like that together and they're angry or they're super racist or misogynistic or hateful or whatever happens to be, all of those people could do things that they wouldn't do under rational circumstances if they were thinking rationally, if they were really thinking things through. And so I'm brown, I am Mexican American, okay, I am indigenous, I am a non-white person, I am not from the mountains of the Caucasus. And they figured that out, and they were following my friend and I, and my poor friend, she's German, and she was like scared and shaking. She's like 5 feet tall, I'm 5'7", and she wanted to dip into this little store, like a little 7-Eleven underground in the tunnel. I wanted to keep going. She wanted to duck in there. So we follow her in there, and the shopkeeper woman, this German woman, she goes, Feierabend, alles raus, geht raus. They followed us into this little convenience store nook in this underground little train place thing. And there's no other way out. There's no exit. It's just, So we were trapped inside of this little store. The woman was yelling to get us out. The people behind us were chanting and raving. They all had these huge swastika tattoos and all these Nazi tattoos all over their necks and their faces and all of the things. Hitler portraiture. I mean, everyone was very committed. When you have those tattoos of like what those tattoos, like you're committed, right? You're very committed. And there were even like, you can tell like retail t-shirts of that stuff. It was like a whole different, I was like, wow, I was the darkest person that I saw while I was in that town, like the entire time I was there. And so they enclosed us into this little shop, and then the woman was yelling at us. My friend was pleading with this woman. So all of that crazy delusional energy is Mars and Cancer. You can think of that as Mars and Cancer. I'm a Cancer rising. I grew up with a lot of toxic Cancer energy, like in my childhood. And I can clock it so immediately. And that intense emotionalism gets really delusional, and it's blind. It blinds itself, thinking something is under threat, thinking something is, I don't know. I really don't know. It's something that is like their own fear and projection. So I'm going to give you the answer. Okay. I'm going to give you the shortcut solution. This is exactly what I did. So we were enclosed. They were yelling and screaming and hollering. They were yelling at the shopkeeper. I grabbed my friend's like hand and I kind of point my head down, and I don't look at anyone like in the eye. I'm kind of looking like at the shoulders and below. And I just walk us right through the crowd, slowly out the door, turning the corner to get to the exit of this underground train thing. The mob started to project their hate onto the shopkeeper. The shopkeeper was fighting with these neo-Nazis, and we weren't even at the exit yet, but these people saw us, what was happening. They came up to us, my friend and I, and started talking to us and made it look like they were expecting us, like we were going to visit them, because we still had to deal with the crowd like marching the rest of the way. And that was the shield. That was it. That was the last thing. And then they just kept the party going and they left the train shed. So you be the calm through the storm is what I'm saying. You just keep your wits about you. Do not let someone else trigger you into extreme emotionalism and get under your skin. Do not let yourself become engaged and entangled in conflict, especially if it is this emotional hijacking. Okay, whoever throws that temper tantrum first loses. Just think of that. You be the calm through it all. And when you see that someone's like egging you on or trying to get your goat, separate from them, find other staff, replace them with better staff, get some time and distance from them. Maybe they're going through a bad time at home and they cannot be a great friend to you, or they cannot be a great relative to you. Doesn't mean you have to never talk to them again, but give them space to work something out so that you don't catch it. You don't catch that toxicity or that negativity. And, all of this is so that we can just survive to live to die another day, right? So on Tuesday, I'm calling it utility. Like I said, this can be really magical in the sense of you get to see some kind of purpose or utility, or depending on what this Taurus energy is in your life, like you may feel very like the faith will either be there and you'll feel like you really believe in this purpose, or it'll be the fear that makes you feel like you just can't do something. You just feel so afraid and you're reactive. And then the actions that you're taking are going to be from a place of fear and insecurity And that's when you blow up your spot. That's when you lose the plot. Okay. That's also the same day that we have the quarter moon in Cancer. So that's sorting through. So we're on like a new moon energy. This is the quarter moon. So God, that new moon, the new moon with the Mars. It's just, I don't know about you guys, but I've just been so tired. I've just been so like sleepy. I've just been a sleepy girl. So I'll be looking forward to this I'll get this moon cycle over with. It's like 30 days. It's not going to last long, but you know, anyway, the quarter moon in Cancer. So we're on the new moon. So when a new moon starts, you get to grow things. You get to plant seeds. You get to, seed new things that you want. And you try to steer the energy. That's what we do the best we can. We try to steer the energy in a way that we want. And sometimes we hit, sometimes we miss. So at the quarter moon, though, you're sorting through what seeds have sprouted since last week, since that new moon. And you want to spot the thrivers, like the sprouts that are growing really strong and healthy. Maybe it's a financial thing that you started and it's bringing you money. Maybe your investment's doing well. Maybe you're getting to know someone new and that's going really well. Maybe you are. Personally, I'm using this week for my writing because, guys, it's just been so strange. Like, I think comedy writing is better for my mental health. I really do. So I think like if I did have to I think that's really good for me. But this story that I'm writing, it's just crazy because I never thought after my historical biopic thriller, I never thought that I would go there again. Like I thought I gave everything I had on that subject in that script. And it's like an epic. It's a historical epic. And so I'm surprised at my own creative self that I have more in me for this. And I'm like really self-surprised. I've been on a good breakthrough streak lately. I haven't blown myself up in quite some time. So, don't blow yourself up this week. Use everything for motivation. That's the only difference between people that have what they want and people that are bitter and just want to blame everyone and everything else about it. Is everyone fails. Everyone tries things that don't work. Everyone is humiliated. Everyone looks goofy and ridiculous. Everyone gets dumped. Everyone suffers tragedy. It's just, we all have different independent free will. That's the beautiful part of it. So the quarter moon in Cancer, we're sorting through the sprouts to spot the thrivers and the thinners. So seeds that you planted. The thing that I wanted to launch at this new moon totally fizzled. It's been totally taken over by this script idea. So that's not happening. That's a thinner. That is not a thriver. So use constructive action to overcome challenges. Okay, there's going to be obstacles or challenges, and you want to use constructive action to overcome them. You're meant to push through and troubleshoot and be solution oriented on Tuesday to figure it out. Find the utility, make the tool that you need in the moment. People ask me, what's the best frying pan? What's the best, nonstick fry? It's the one you have in your kitchen. Okay, I'm always going to give you answers like that. Like, Natalie, what's the best hairbrush? The one you have in your bathroom, the one you have on you right now, what you have right in front of you, use it, So, yes, what's right, like me looking at this chart saying I feel like I'm missing something. It feels a little bit off with this interpretation. Finally, I was able to see the kite formation and then it made sense. Then it all made sense. So I would say be excited for Tuesday because even let's say it's really, even dark or some big realization or something, you still need to see it so that you can fix it and work on it so that doesn't act against you. Why do we do this? Why do we care about self-mastery? Why do we care about truth, love, and integrity? Why do we care about alchemizing traumas? And why do we care about healing? It's because all of the effects of traumas, all of the effects of toxicity take pieces of who we are away from us. And that's wrong. It's not right. So it's you guys that watch stuff like this that know that you're independent from that system, from that energy grid system. And you're making a choice to say, you can't have who I am. You can't have who I am. I'm not going to self-sabotage in relationships and get that part taken away from me that can enjoy being in healthy relationships just because I'm too afraid to confront and overcome my traumatic issues or finances or self-actualization, whatever it happens to be. That's why we do all this. Like, that's the freaking point. And that is what progresses humanity forward. And that is what reduces resistance to all of us using our psychic abilities. X-Men, okay? It all makes sense. In my mind, it all makes sense. Perfect sense. Okay, Wednesday, March the 29th, I'm calling Great Instincts. This is when Mars perfects and they're trying over to Saturn, which technically they've already been applying, but this is just when it hits exact, and then it'll be separating. So execute your strategy. Execute your strategy. It's like you get the signal Tuesday, Wednesday to make the action, take the action, or make the commitment, or, you know, apply for long-term steady progress. Like I said, I'm going to use this for writing because Mars Saturn will allow you to work on something steadily over a long period of time that you're going to be happy with. So this is good for long-term consistency, stability. Something can endure. What you work on now, what you pour your energy into can last. It can last, you know, the test of time. So if this is misused, if this energy is misused, then you have Saturn there to check your actions and to check your anger. So if you're angry and your boundaries are being crossed, you're justified in creating that boundary and cutting things out and cutting around things, your financial boundaries, your physical boundaries, your emotional boundaries, your mental boundaries, your spiritual boundaries. If you ask yourself when you're angry, are my boundaries being pushed on or crossed? And the answer is no. If no one is pushing or crossing these boundaries of yours, then you're channeling the delusional Mars in Cancer, and you're feeling a threat when there's no threat present or there's no evidentiary support for your anger, why you should be so angry or throwing your temper tantrum. Saturn will check that. Saturn will give you consequences probably pretty immediately. You'll try to do something to coerce or force, brute force a situation, brute force relationships, or whatever this is. And there will be something catching you out. There will be something stopping you. There will be a delay. There will be, you know what I'm saying? Like there will just be something that, or you get caught with something, you know, and it's like, don't even, that's why it's, you want to work on yourself and self-mastery so that you don't blow up your own spot. Okay. So I'm calling Wednesday Great Instincts, because with Mars trine Saturn, like if your instincts are on point, if your instincts are like healthy, then you'll know what to do and you can apply your energy correctively. Mars in Gemini from August until March was so much spinning our wheels, scattering our energies, putting it in the wrong places, trying to figure out like what we want to do with ourselves, or, you know, choosing one thing over another, or going back and forth between all these different options. And now we either will have a singular focus of something that we really care about, something that's very emotionally rich, like an emotionally rich experience for us, or people are going to be crazy and they're going to be like delusionally, emotionally like upset and have no reason why, no justification, just because they're threatened or just because they feel uncomfortable or just because, I don't know, it's something possessive, something super possessive, super toxic. So, you know, you just leave the conflict. That's what I'm saying. Like you go through calmly, you walk through that storm, cool as a cucumber. Okay. And you can do it. You can absolutely do it. You just have to believe in yourself, have faith in yourself, and see with seeing eyes the purpose, the grand purpose that's revealed to you this week. In addition to like making progress on something you want to last a long time, there can be a very intuitive grounding. So you can do something according to protocol, or you can get the approval to do something, the approval to act, the approval to move ahead, the approval to move forward on something meaningful to you, something that is supported by the authorities or the higher ups. Like I said, go according to protocol. Okay, keep your wits about you. Be the one that can behave. Be the one that can show up professionally. Be the one that can be counted on, that can, really prove yourself with your dependability and your consistency of energetic effort. And you'll be fine and you'll be good to go. Thursday, March the 30th, I'm calling it Free Your Heart. This is when we have the conjunction of Venus and Uranus at 16 degrees of Taurus. Very excited for this one. A new cycle of attempting, keyword attempting, to elevate your experiences in love and self-appreciation to higher highs begins again. Okay, so Venus Uranus can usually kind of go either way. It can be very much a wonderful, beautiful surprise, but it can always be sort of tragically beautiful, very Edward Scissorhands to me. Okay, or just tragedy and beauty all wrapped up. And actually, I'm so excited to use all this energy this week for my script. So find something that you want to age like a fine wine, something that you want to get better the longer it's in existence. Okay, and then pour your energy into it, because this Venus Uranus is going to add some pizzazz. It's going to deliver some kind of refreshing opportunity to feel better in new, different ways, to feel good about yourself, to appreciate yourself in a new, different way, to use your skills, talents, and abilities in new, different ways. You're a drummer, you find a new way to drum. You're a singer, you find a new organ to use to sing. I don't know anything about singing. Or, it's just stay open-minded, because it could be very refreshing. And you yourself showing up to that situation or those circumstances in the Taurus area of your life, you yourself can show up very refreshed and very, open-minded and progressive and different. So it's about experiencing a higher octave of that, though. It's about leveling it up. So you have that scaling up energy again, coming up again on Thursday. The heart wants to experience higher highs, refreshed. But also on the day, the moon in Leo will oppose Pluto in Aquarius. So this is really interesting to me, because this moon in Leo, we're going to have moon in Leo opposing Pluto in Aquarius one more month, but then every month for 20 years, beginning next year. So I feel like this is going to be the heart experiencing like these electrical stuns that change our emotional landscapes internally. Something's going to really wake us up when the moon in Leo goes to oppose Pluto in Aquarius. That could be very stunning, like in an electric way. Like you can feel electric current going through your body. Something emotionally could really like make it stun you and make you kind of like sit up a little bit, and just really it changes you inside. Something changes you. Okay. So that'll be interesting, but it's with the heart again, because the Leo rules the heart, and the emotions are dictated by the moon, and the moon's going through Leo. So there's something very heart focused on Thursday, but with Venus, Uranus, and then moon Pluto, it could really be like a yearning to be more self-sufficient, independent, and seeing your own self do something, so when you see yourself do something that you were insecure about or you didn't really believe that you can do, it's quite magical, and you see yourself in a whole new different way. This can be so many other different things. I already talked about this in my monthlies for all the 12 zodiac signs. So if you're interested in that, it's on the Patreon, Knights tier and above. But anyway, I look forward to just being very excited, like like in a very surprising, stunned way on Thursday. Friday, the 13th, no, that's not the 13th. Friday, the 31st of the week, I'm calling it doing the day. There's not a lot going on. There's just that same moon in Leo trining over to the sun in Aries, which is nice. So we'll find it easier, or we'll just be more interested in focusing on the day's duties. Things look like they're going along fairly well, swimmingly, a little bit dramatic, but like on the fun side. Like you just go into the office and you're acting goofy, or you wear your tie on your head, or you start to talk in a funny voice, and then the other coworkers start to talk in a funny voice back, and you guys just get goofy and creative and have fun, and it's making jokes. It's kind of just like that. So, but like a nice, chill kind of a start. And then the moon will square over to Uranus and Taurus. That's going to be like later in the day, and expect unexpected, possibly delays or something that could push you out of your comfort zone or the norm. There could just be some dissonance, like cognitive dissonance, like it's broken up a little bit. But after the moon Pluto opposition, the moon Uranus square may not be so shocking. Like it'll maybe pick up some momentum of, the heart space that's changing and evolving with that square to Uranus, because you just had Venus Uranus and then you just had the moon Pluto. So it kind of just continues more of, trying to adapt. But these areas of life they're not about adapting. So, it's about having that refreshed perspective enough to see, to really project your energy into the future, into the unknown, into the unexplored, and relocating your center there so that you can be comfortable there and grow into that space. Okay, I'm a Cancer ascendant, so I know, like I said, very intimately well, this crazy Cancer energy. I outgrew that when I was a teenager. Coming out of my teenage years, I outgrew that. So to see adults throwing these temper tantrums, it's just like, it's crazy being a grown-up now. It's just really crazy. So, care about your healing in your heart and give yourself permission to be as happy as possible as soon as possible. Okay, because all of the lessons, all of the self-mastery, all of the healing things that you have to do, all the obstacles, all the challenges, the tests and the lessons, that will come up. Okay, you don't have to like seek any of that out. You're going to try to do something and have internal resistance and have it be really hard for you. And it's going to bring up a lesson, or you're going to get, so just, especially with the moon in Leo this week, give yourself permission to be as happy as possible, as soon as possible, for as long as possible, until one of these things comes up. Then you want to give that your attention, and then you got to work on that, so try to find the joy in the moment to moment, so you can live to die another day. Saturday, April the 1st, I'm calling it Lucky Happy. I guess I didn't try too hard for that title. But that's just because we have the moon in Leo trining over to Jupiter and Mercury in Aries, which is really sweet. I mean, that's very lucky when you take the initiative, as you've been throughout since Monday, with that Jupiter Mercury conjunction. You could have started the week very strong. Hopefully, just be careful that, like I said, the beginning of the week, it could be like a lot of hot air or a lot of misdirected like energy. So hopefully it all got settled and figured out by Saturday, because Saturday looks cool. The moon trining over to Jupiter and Mercury. Take in the education, take in learning. A lot of Leos are so smart. You guys learn so much about so many things, art and history, and you guys it's just, you guys are really interesting, like what you guys know about history and whatnot. So, you know, take in the education because of the connection also to Jupiter, which is mentor energy. Take in the education, learn, absorb, really internalize it, adapt it. Don't litigate the notes. Take it seriously, but have fun with it. Mix and mingle, circulate, ooze intelligence. I can't take credit for that. That's Bridget Jones. It's Bridget Jones's diary. Mix and mingle, meet interesting people, do what makes your heart happy. Okay, it could be a lucky day. It could be a lucky, happy day. So take the initiative, be brave, be bold, follow your heart's desire, have a lot of fun, and just enjoy it. Give yourself permission to enjoy it. Okay, on Sunday, the 2nd of April, I am calling this day balance. This moon in Virgo is opposing Saturn in Pisces, and that's where the balance comes from. So this is the thing, like with Saturn now being in a wet, moist, double-bodied water sign of Pisces, this is very subjective. That's why this week people can really blow their own spot up, because they're going to be operating through a very subjective lens of fear, whereas other people are going to have some great grand purpose revealed and will be able to project their emotional seat of security into a future that supports their confidence. Okay, so you end this week and begin the next week with this moon Saturn opposition. So think about the subjective internalized fears you may have in the Pisces area of life, because if there are fears there and phobias, they could come up, but they will come up through the current circumstances that are trying to rebalance your rationale and your spiritual beliefs. So all stress and anxiety really boil down to, what do you really believe? If you really believe in life after death, why are you afraid of dying? If you really believe in X, Y, and Z, why do you worry about it? You know, if you make that judgment, you don't think about it again. You're not taking in new information anymore. That's what making the judgment means. Make a judgment about a person, about a situation or a job or a relationship, whatever. You're done taking in information. You've already made up your mind about it. So this moon Saturn opposition is going to feel more stress and pressure on your spiritual beliefs and your emotional security. People may feel the pressure to confront these phobias and confront these fears and confront, you know, and it doesn't have to, you know, this could be like, this is relationship stuff. For instance, there just may be something that comes up in a new relationship that's forming that you are afraid to talk about this topic, but then you talk about it and you overcome it and the transit passes. Maybe it was over a couple of hours, and over those couple of hours you were in, I don't know, you were in the situation where you see the person again, you didn't think you were going to see them, and then the thing comes up to talk about, you discuss it, because this opposition brings these things in sharp focus, and then you get to move beyond it, you get to move past it, and you have effectively overcome that fear. You get this little opportunity to do with the moon opposing Saturn. It could, you know, that's like one example. This could be so many different scenarios. But just look for that balance, because if you're fear spiraling, that's Saturn in Pisces. You know, if you're like wild with just driving yourself crazy with the unknowns, with the fears, with the phobias about anything and everything, okay? The TikTok ban, maybe you run a business off TikTok and you're afraid of the ban. Maybe you have a very special, uniquely talented spouse, and they're about to have their big like debut premiere, and you just want to see them shine so bright, and you're encouraging them. You know, you could be really supportive of them, or you could be really afraid that they're going to leave you for somebody else, and you don't want your partner to shine that bright in their career. maybe you liked them when they were more insecure and they got all their validation from you. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different phobias and fears. This could be where you drive yourself crazy about purified water and not feeling like anything is pure enough, you know, like, or you could be really afraid of like microorganisms or tapeworms in your, you know, like we can psych ourselves out about so many different things. So just try not to fear spiral and just balance yourself on Sunday, because it could be, you might feel like you're ready to mature through that, whatever that is, whatever it is. So it'll be good. It'll be good. We're going to use the Nightmare Before Christmas deck to open up your message for the week ahead. We may not clarify, only because I have all my tarot cards in this purse and I don't know where it is. And I just took it out yesterday. I do in-person events, and that's why all of those decks are in my purse. And it was like just yesterday, it was just last night. So I don't know where I put it. And I don't want to stop and the flow and the momentum talking about this week. I'm all juiced up already. And so I'm not going to look for it, but I do wonder where it is. Anyway, yeah. So I also do in-person events, and it's kind of exciting because I think about it and you guys, so these in-person, when I say in-person event, I mean that someone's having like a fancy, you know, bourgeoisie dinner party, and they want like an interesting little, you know, fun, you know, even if it's for entertainment purposes. Everyone that I sit down with, they're like, you know, and, you know, even if they're sitting down and it's just entertainment for them, you and I know that they're sitting down with like an occultist, okay, some witchy shit. So it's like the whole vibe kind of changes, and I really love it, to be honest, because I literally am John Constantine when I go to these in-person events. Okay. And I dress the part. Like, I have my big black blazer and I need a tie. Like the white crisp shirt and like the tie. And my black slacks, and then my purse with my cards and my selenite and the witchy things, some herbs. And, you know, they get that experience because you're having this like experience with an occultist, like in person. Even if they think it's just entertainment, then I start talking about their lives, and it's just like, okay. Anyway, so I'll find those cards, but we're using Nightmare Before Christmas. I almost said something else. I almost said Nightmare Before something else, but this is Nightmare Before Christmas. What's the message? Thank you. Knight of Needles, the Knight of Swords. I don't like this character, like in the I don't like this guy, the little devil. Guys, honestly, think before ye speaketh, this weeketh. Okay, seriously, because we don't need like the putrid explosion of overreactiveness. I'm telling you guys, I outgrew that when I was like a crazy little hormonal teenager, and I've had so many experiences with like crazy cancer people, like men and women, and like, you will never guilt me into getting angry or upset or feeling a certain way ever. Okay, those times are over. So let's all do it together, like humanity. Okay, and like Congress was just, okay, so yeah, let's all think before we speaketh, this weeketh. I want that to be the title. Thank you. We also have the Three of Presents. Oh, it's just the grind. It's the grind of work. Guys, writing scripts is a lot of work. It's a lot of work. It's definitely, and just like this Mars trine Saturn this week, like I'm doing it according to protocol. I'm going through all of the steps, you know, step by step. and like building and building layers, polishing, structuring, filling it, like all the things. And it is, a lot of work. So whatever you do this week, however you use that Mars Saturn energy, make sure that like you really love it. Make sure that it's something that you're like really happy and proud to chisel through that mountain. Okay. That's what I'm getting with the Three of Presents. I'm just getting more work. I'm just getting more work. And if you haven't seen Constantine, watch Constantine. That's basically my life. Constantine meets the girl with the dragon tattoo. It's a little bit like, kind of like that. Three of Presents is very just like the grind, the work. That's a lot. Think about it. You're going from Halloween Town and becoming all about Christmas. Like now that's the vibe. You just were born and raised in Halloween Town. Halloween's your holiday every single year. It's all anybody thinks about or talks about. And then all of a sudden, the hero of the town is like, guys, great idea. Let's take over Christmas. And now all of a sudden you have to be all about Christmas. So how are you going to make that shift, that pivot? You can't. All of your presents are ghoulish. All of the it's all just you can't not be Halloween. You can't not be Halloween Town. King of Needles, King of Swords, and Death. I love this because I hate this character too. I absolutely do not like him because he basically like enslaves Sally, and it's like a very toxic situation. And he was trying to like control her, so she couldn't do anything, and that's why she poisoned him with like frog's breath. So I'm really happy to see that this misogynistic, egotistical, like mental ego person is experiencing some kind of humbling experience. It makes me very happy to see that. Okay, so this is like some kind of, like I said, some big mental ego person getting like a very humbling experience. Someone that like thinks they know everything or thinks they know all, or things, it's just so much more wise to know that you don't know anything, like to know that you don't know. Like I'm still like, I'm telling you, like I am very surprised at myself that I have this creative inspiration, this plain story. Like I'm very surprised at myself, very surprised at my own, like what part of me is getting woken up. Like it's really, it's something that's freaked me out my entire life, is that there are parts of you that you don't know well, and that there are parts of you and other parts of you and how they interact with you. Like that's always just been really freaky to me. Freaky, which I guess is part of what fuels so much interest in the subconscious. Anyway, so yeah, this person could have some kind of like mental ego death. They have some kind of cognitive dissonance that just like snaps and breaks apart. Or they may just like tear down some previous ideas willingly and rebuild some mental structures willingly of their own volition. The Two of Potions, the Two of Cups. Relationships. Let's clarify using the same deck. Tell me about the Knight of Swords. What is this conversation so far? Oh no, the Ten of Needles and the Seven of Needles. Two more cards, the Seven and the Ten of Needles. Oh my God, you guys. Erase everything that you thought you knew about this week, or about, I don't know, something in your life, because someone here is definitely getting some kind of total like this is okay. When you're writing something like a mystery, everyone writes it wrong. Everyone like does it like the wrong way. What you want to do is tell, there's a story. Let people follow that story. Let your audience feel like they know the story they're being told, the people they're learning about, what they're learning about these people. And then it's revealed that that hasn't really been the story all along. It's really been about this. Wow. Perfect example. M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense. You think you're watching a story about one thing. You think you know this plot. You think you know what you're watching. And then, whoa, it's about something else. Okay. That's what happens here. Like what you were thinking, like the way you were thinking about something, or the way you were planning something, or the way you were seeing something, or whatever, or talking about something, you thought it was like one thing or going one way. And then it's like blindside. You get like totally blindsided. And it's like, oh my God, it was like a totally different thing. Something gets revealed very quickly, but it's like if something gets outed or revealed or said or something where there's too little time to change anything. There's too little time to make any difference. There's too little time to, it's like, it's like you reveal that the stories are really about something else. I don't do any spoiler alerts. I know it's an old movie, but once that happens, then you end the story pretty quickly. That's what happens here. So the story gets ended very quickly, but not before some big mental shift, blindsided first. Changes your perception about what this has all been about, what it's all been going towards, what it's all whatever, and then that story ends and something else begins. What's this Three of Presents? The Two of Candles. The Two of Wands. More relationship stuff. I kind of like this context because it's just good work relationships, working well with other people. This might even be working with people from out of town or overseas, or where they're not like physically, or might just be working with team members that are not physically in the office with you. There may be increased contact with people that are abroad, that kind of thing. All right, let's take a look at this death with the King of Swords. I'm a fan of this kind of humbling, that mental ego. It takes part of you away from you. That's the whole point of all this stuff, is that you can't have who I am. Trauma, fear, insecurity, guilt, shame. You can't have who I am, because when you let that take over, that's what makes your decisions for you. That's what blows up your spot. Think of all your regrets. Think of when you wish you didn't do something, or you did do something, or you didn't say something, or you did say something. Okay. That wasn't really you. That was your toxic femininity. That was your toxic masculinity. That was your trauma response. That was your insecurity. That was your whatever. So it's not fair that stuff gets to ruin your life, and you have to pay the price for it. When you wake up back in yourself as a person that like means well, wants to live a normal life, or just wants to be left alone to live a normal life, whatever. But then you have these parts of you that are unhealed, your shadow parts running around, causing havoc, ruining your opportunities, ruining your relationships, ruining your sobriety, whatever it happens to be. And that makes everyone feel upset. And then people blame each other. They blame the people closest to them. They indulge in drugs, alcohol, champagne, caviar, naughty women. And then we die, and then we learn, and then we come back and try to do better. It's just exhausting. Four of Presents, the Four of Pentacles. So this is going to be someone that has like a mental reckoning that is really, really, really hard. Okay. They're holding on with their cold, dead fingers like Congress. They are holding on to their idea. They're not letting the truth change them. They're not letting the truth or the evidence change their perspective. They're not allowing the truth to change reality. They're really holding on tightly to the idea they want to have about something or someone or a circumstance. This would be like someone that rejects the notes. This would be someone that they write something, they get notes on it, and they just ignore all the notes and they don't even consider them. or they rationalize them, or they litigate the notes, whatever. Okay. So, but this person's still going to go through that reckoning. There's like some kind of mental ego death that like just has to happen. Let's take a look at the Two of Potions, the Two of Cups. This is really nice relationship energy. Honestly, this week with the tarot looks a lot better for professional instances rather than like personal instances. I'm trying to show it to you. Four of Needles, the Four of Swords. This is a very calm situation, a very calm relationship. Okay. This is very calm. So you're going to be, everything's going to be fine. Working with people goes really well this week, and somebody has a huge cognitive dissonance, breakage, or ego death, mental ego death that happens. Necessary, very necessary. You don't want to be like crystallized in your ideas. You don't want to be married to one idea. You're going to die on a hill, and you need to adapt. And then there's that other, plot twist thing that happens. Okay, so we have these for your oracle for today. I don't do exorcisms. It's a lot of work for not enough compensation. And I'm not charging exorbitant amounts. Okay, I don't. Speaking of like live in-person work that I do not do exorcisms. It's honestly just like too much work. I would find like a specialist, someone that just does exorcisms. Any other guidance? Ooh. I have writing to do, please. Please. Fine. Confidence is your key to success. I thought that this would be straight and not backwards. Anyway, confidence is your key to success. So listen, the good confidence, the honest confidence, the confidence that you can project forward successfully is from the heart, and loving yourself, taking care of yourself first and foremost, which means taking care of all this other, shadow work stuff. Okay. Then you can take your confidence out into the world and be validated and encouraged and loved and adored and celebrated. But you have to have that self-respect first. Mars, Saturn, if you don't use it this week, that'll suck. That'll be a wasted opportunity because you're hopefully watching this before the week happens. So that lack of self-discipline is a lack of self-respect. You want to think about that. If you care about it, what's stopping you from being able to work hard at it? That's a blockage you can work through. Confidence is your key to success. Radiate happiness, confidence, pizzazz. Okay. Bottom of the deck. You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. We are, look how cute. You are good enough. Full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. Okay. Absolutely. 100%. You are good enough. That's it. That's your week. If you would like to learn remote viewing, telekinesis, astral travel, let me say something about that. So remote viewing, telekinesis, astral travel, lucid dreaming, all of those things are just like you exercise your muscles with weights and all kinds of things. Those things that I just listed, these activities, remote viewing, telekinesis, astral travel, lucid dreaming, that is all spiritual exercise. Those are the ways that you can exercise your spiritual muscles. It's not just faith. It's not just belief. It's not just emotionally charging your ideas about life and death. These are practicable, actionable exercises to strengthen your spiritual muscles. So if you're interested in that, Or if you just like additional astrology and tarot readings like this video for your sun, moon, and rising signs on a weekly and monthly basis, bookmark patreon.com/TheFirstArteagan. And when you're ready to join the club, the Arteagan on Patreon, we will be happy to welcome you into our magical community of occultists, our decentralized club and network of individualists all over the world. Until next time, my loves, many beautiful blessings upon all of your beautiful heads, darlings.